Welcome to 30 What Now? This is Mel,
And this is Irian.
and we're two millennials in our 30s who are faking it through life.
On this podcast, we'll explore what it means to be a 30-year-old and try to make sense of it all along the way.
We're also new to this whole podcast thing, so if you're keen to see our journey, listen away.
Shall we?
Like the
Red leather, yellow leather. She sells seashells.
unique New York.
Oh,
yeah,
unique
yeah.
New York, unique.
That's it. That's
Yeah. Welcome everybody to 30 What Now? Today we won't have Aaron again because he clearly has a better life than I do. But in saying that, I've invited my really good friend Josh here to be my co-host.
Hello, hi, nice to be here.
What was I going to say? Oh, the part I was going to mention was me and Aaron, we've had a look at our podcast analytics, and we noticed that episodes with guests actually tend to not do very well. So what gives? Like, why? Can you tell us? Is it because our guests are really bad? Because they're not. I found them really great, but we're hopeful that maybe Josh will spice it up.
I wouldn't put your hopes very high. I think if anything, probably this will just be the confirmation.
So are you saying that depending on how we do today, this might be the end of having guests on our podcast?
If I single-handedly bring down this podcast, I wouldn't be surprised.
And what happens if you bring it up?
I guess we'll renegotiate, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
renegotiate. Oh, you didn't even sign a
I
contract.
was going to say, I'm doing this pro bono.
Well, life is pro bono.
I feel the walk back already.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. But anyway, so today we have
Maybe this podcast should be successful just so I can get into a contract now.
Maybe. If depending, I think, how do people make money from podcasts? I think that you actually have to find not collabs, advertisers.
Yep.
And if we're able to get advertisers, maybe
Vix
from
Vector
Vix.
Yes.
I was just about to say that. If we're able to get advertisers, then you can get a portion. I'll do some math. I'll use some Excel, figure out the proportion. Then we'll figure it out. But anyway, today we've got my friend Josh. So how do I know you?
Well, we worked together.
We worked together.
For a period of time, yes.
Yep.
And then, we just became mates. And
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah.
I'm now doing a podcast.
I know.
Never would have seen it coming.
We're building memories. In case we ever have a fallout, we will always
At least we have this recorded.
exactly.
Maybe we'll fall out after this episode. Who knows?
Nah, me and my friends afterwards, like we maintain good relationship after. It will probably be your fault if we fall out.
Okay, cool.
I get. But essentially, yes, we met at a previous workplace, which is why today's conversation is about workplace relationships and whether you're for or against work husbands and work wives, like work marriages.
Spoiler alert, I'm definitely against.
No, same here. But I think it's really interesting because I know people who have them, but they've always been like same gender. So it makes it more okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to it in a little bit. But let's dive into workplace relationship. Da-na-na-na-na.
I always kind of thought it would be like the music playing.
Yeah, so you edited post.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Da-da-da-da-da.
So, actually, before we begin, let's talk about what have you been watching?
What I've been consuming lately. I saw Gladiator. I saw Gladiator 2. Sorry, just gotta add in the audible description that Mel's just basically sniffly and has put her hands against the mic, so like it's like a full like get back to the microphone.
Otherwise, I'll have to edit it out. Like every sniffle that I sniffled, sometimes I'm like, no, I gotta edit that out now. But yes, continue Gladiators.
Yeah, sorry. I recently saw actually this weekend Gladiator 2. That's been a big one to go see, which was interesting.
Why?
I feel like movies, like you're not getting as many good blockbusters coming to the cinemas these days. Like I was talking about this with someone recently. The things to me that stood out recently going to the cinema for was things like Dune 2, or the Dune movies, I guess. I'm trying to remember when the first one was. There was Napoleon when they came out. I remember Despicable Me 4 or whatever they're up to.
You've watched all of them? I think I've watched the first one.
Well, we've got a cinema right nearby to us, so it's like great date night activity. So, yeah, but at the same time, like going to those movies, like particularly Napoleon and Gladiator 2, like Ridley Scott, right? Like Alien, Gladiator 1, trying to remember his other big hits, but yeah, like, and some, so I don't know why, but they're kind of falling flat. So that was surprising.
No, that's fair. I think that's actually really fair. With the rise of more content out generally, you know, we
definitely quantity over quality. It feels
quantity
recently.
over quality, especially when you're, you know, if you have subscription to all the platforms like Netflix and Prime, there are good shit that comes up.
Ooh, oh, is this a swearing podcast? I didn't
No, yeah,
realize
you can swear.
I can swear. Oh
You
my
can
god.
swear, yeah. I mean, like, stop clicking into the mic though.
Okay, that's the boundary.
You can swear, but don't click.
and sniffling's okay.
Sniffling's not okay.
Oh,
That's
no.
why I edit it out. But yeah, I think you're right. There's so many movies and TV shows out there that's shit. And it's hard to find a good movie. And I actually don't love the fact that a lot of movies are adapted from books. So I love a good sorry. I love a good original screenplay. And I find movies or TV shows that are adapted a little bit of a cop out. Obviously, if they do really well,
It's hard though,
Great.
because there's so many things based on other things. Like all the great pieces of work are based on something, right?
Yes.
There's always influence.
yeah.
Straight copying though definitely feels off. Like
The two Lion Kings, like the cartoon and then the adaptation.
God, the live action version.
The live action, yes.
Like
yes.
yeah, that this is. I feel like we could have our own episode on just this very topic.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
wary though that I'm maybe going too far down the rabbit
No,
hole.
you can talk about it. I could edit it out. Who knows?
Okay. Cool. Always be producing content. Okay.
Always be producing content. I think it's also anyway, but it's hard. I do think like in terms of even going to the movies, the only movie that I'm looking forward to is Wicked. But Wicked was already
That's already a copy.
It's
of
already a
musical.
copy. Yes,
There
I
have
agree.
been great copies of the musicals though. Those things. So this is the interesting topic I will get us onto. Even though I'm the guest, I'm
Yes.
going to steer us. Here.
Yeah, okay. Assert your dominance, I guess.
This is what's going to make us fall out. I've come in and hijacked your podcast.
No, to be fair, I bully you normally in a non-actual way. Like, I do not.
Ooh, it's out in the public ways now.
But we don't actually. It's called banter in Australia.
This feels like that's your statement. You're cancelled.
No. But, you know, you can talk about, you have agency.
I have agents. Okay, cool.
You have
cool.
agency. You are not stuck in this realm of Mel and Arian's podcasting world by force. You
Cool.
have a choice.
There is an access card. I can get out.
You
if I
can
need.
get out. Exactly.
Perfect. Well, I guess steering us into these dark waters then. The thing I was having a recent conversation with someone about was like it feels like there's things that are meant to be creative, right? Like when you make a new TV show, you know, you want to do well and you want to be creative and you don't want to just be a bland copy of something else. Like trying to think of a good example here, but like the DC Superman, all that movies, you know, I think they're obviously trying to get that Marvel style.
Universe? Yeah.
Yes, they were definitely trying to get onto that train, I think. But when we talk about things like video game adaptations of
Like Fallout?
like the Fallout TV show, like other
Borderlands?
things. Yes, great. All great examples.
I know you're surprised that I actually watched these, don't you?
Yeah, you're more of a nerd than I thought, Mel.
I actually watched this because my boyfriend wanted me to watch it.
There you go. But the funny thing is, excuse me, got a burp in.
ASMR, burp it in.
I will say, I think it's funny because there's things that are meant to be creative, like TV shows, that are for the most part sometimes not and just milking it. But then it's weird because you've got other TV shows, like for instance, like these video game adaptations where you have the whole video game storyline, you have the formula, you have the keys to success, and they just don't. They go like, oh no, we can make it better, and it's like that's just not feeding into anyone. Like think Halo. I don't know if you ever watched that TV
no,
show.
I haven't watched that one.
Did not do anything with the script. Yeah, that's probably my first case. I know there's a few. I think Borderlands as well did something similar. But
I know some people really hated the movie, but when I watched it, as someone who didn't really play the game, it was good value. It was fun. It was funny.
Which one, sorry?
The movie.
The movie?
The one, the most.
Borderlands?
Yeah, the recent one.
Yeah. I say this, I feel bad because I haven't watched it, but I just know the reviews are very harsh.
It's not bad. As someone who doesn't watch it, there were laughs. It was.
And you did play the games?
I didn't play the games.
See, yeah, this is the top 5, I think. I mean, but it makes sense, right? If you can make money from it. But I think my best and worst case is Halo. Yeah. Just because that is just so off kilter. Yeah. But then the best case was Last of Us. They just followed the script.
Yeah.
They just took what they had, made it, and then boom, you're done.
Yeah.
And there's so many other examples of like loose adaptations. But
I think that's fair. Yeah.
When it comes to consuming, that's it's my rabbit hole.
No, I think that's fair, and it's hard, right? Because you either make money, and people are gonna binge anything that is somewhat relatively good.
If it's promoted enough,
or if it's easy, like Emily in Paris. Not
is that season 5 now? Like what is that?
Like it's going.
How long does a visa last?
Sponsorship.
Okay.
Visa.
I see.
But I think like when people get into,
do you think they'll do a spin-off series like Emily in Italy?
No, that's it. So it's gonna be based in Rome now.
Oh God!
And it's gonna coincide with in Italy next year. There's like it's a jubilee, like a silver jubilee, golden jubilee. So it's like every 25 years, all the Catholics within Italy will go to the main Christian cities, so like Rome, Venice, Florence, and do church stuff.
You were on such a roll.
I'm obviously not.
You're definitely watching the show, I can tell.
I do watch the show.
Okay.
I love Emily in Paris, but as a very mindless show. Like, for example, back to your adaptation, Fallout. I quite like Fallout, and I actually I didn't play the game, but what I did afterwards was I went on YouTube and watched people not play games, but kind of a summary of all the different vaults that's out there.
Yes, crazy, right? Like it gets dark.
Yeah.
But that's a weird one because you talk about Fallout and that goes out of the realm because they actually don't. It's not based on any game storyline. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
But the thing they did well is they did a good introduction for people that aren't aware of the universe.
Me.
Yes. But also they just absolutely stayed to the lore. And I think this is where I'm actually now remembering things like Witcher.
Love the first few seasons, obviously.
First season completely, for the most part, pretty good with the storyline. But then I very quickly, I think they went off following the source material.
Yeah, and that's why
there was changes, and that's what made people upset. It made
Henry Cavill leave. Yeah, I'm sorry, I only
and
really watched it for him.
You have years of content ready to go, but you've just decided not to.
Yeah, I wonder why they veered it off, but
I think it's ego, to be honest. But with the Fallout thing, they were very respectful. They included lots of references. God, demure. They included a lot of references for people that were fans of the franchise, fans of the games, and that was a really good example of a middle ground. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So today's conversation is about workplace relationships. So I had a quick look online. And when I meant online, I did use ChatGPT as well, but it makes sense. I you know how when they say ChatGPT doesn't replace humans, you have to sense check it. So my previous episode that would be uploaded soon, if it's not, or has been uploaded, it will be about the American election. And I used ChatGPT to give me like a sense of like what the vibe is, and I cross-check certain things.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. It's, so the 4 different types of workplace relationship that could exist is professional relationships, mentorships, friendships, and work spouses, which is what we'll be talking about today. So in terms of like professional relationship, it's just basically your, employee to manager, manager to senior manager, blah, 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 blah. Very, very structured, very formal. And then your mentorship is where I think we had a conversation with Arian a couple episodes ago where you want a mentorship opportunity because it's someone that's like outside your work that mentors you, and it could be someone a little older, it could be someone in a different industry, whatnot. Then you have your friendships, which is us. Look at us right now. Wow.
So authentic. Thanks.
So authentic. And I guess the real signifier that you are now friends is you hang out outside of work.
And you do podcasts together.
And you do podcasts together, which means I have very little work friendships because there's not. You might be the first.
How many other people have you managed to get down to dragon boating as well?
Dragon boating's harder because it's not for everybody.
No.
It requires like resilience.
Tore up my back
strength.
for sure.
That's because you're weak.
My resilience was there. My strength was there. My back was not.
Your intention was there.
Yeah.
Your intention was there. But yeah, so friendships, and then the last bit is like the work spouse. So those are the four workplace relationship. What are your thoughts? Do you think we've missed out on anything?
I can't think of anything else.
See, ChatGPT works.
Yeah. we should inherently trust ChatGPT.
We should.
I feel like for legal purposes, I have to walk that back. Please don't do that. Please make sure you read, especially if you're actually using it for a work setting.
Wait. But firstly, we're not an expert at anything. We're just referring. So there is no responsibilities on us.
God, this is so freeing.
It is, exactly. Yeah. Except we are not going to be like Logan Paul or Joe Rogan, where it's too freeing. Because we have responsibilities to ourselves.
Yes.
Our values.
I feel like I should probably caveat in saying that we both have worked in the consulting game. And
yes.
so
they know. For me,
okay,
yes.
Good.
Not you, but yes, me.
Obviously, yeah, we've met there. So I think that's probably going to inform my attitudes towards a few of these things. And
fair. All right, so now we're going to talk about our juicy couture topic.
So juicy.
So juicy. Work marriages, work wife, work husband, all that. But before we begin, I think I was actually really interesting to see how did the term even come about. So with a quick look, there is a quick history on how workplace relationships were formed as a whole, right?
Tell me more.
So, before the 20th century, so from like the early 1900s, work relationships were largely structured under gender roles. So men and women were working in very different types of jobs because they thought that women were only able to work in certain types of jobs.
The tea ladies. Yes.
The tea ladies, the secretary. I don't even know if secretaries will hear that. I don't think so. But in the early 1900s, offices were mainly filled with men and they hold the leadership roles. While, women were working as secretaries, clerks, and in lower administrative positions. So in that sense, socializing was only reserved for after hours when the boys go out to drink. And then the husbands would come back really drunk while the wife's like, what gives? Like, why am I the only one taking care of our kids? Then in the early 1980s, so the rise of corporates, like corporate America, Australia, whatnot, gave into more informal workplace interactions. So in the 1950s and 1960s, there was a rise in workplace camaraderie due to the expansion of white-collar and administrative jobs. So there's more of a greater sense of like teamwork amongst men and women, because women were introduced into the workforce. And then in the 1960s to 70s, women began entering into a broader range of industries. So they started going into more male-dominated areas like law, banking, and business management. Then, with the rise of like Mad Men culture, it depicts the professional lives of women and men during that era where workplace relationships sometimes a little bit, illicit, a little bit toxic, form part of the corporate culture. So I also need to stop saying so. So is my thing, is your thing.
Have I been saying it a lot already?
You have said a lot. So much. I know. I'll try to edit. I'll try to edit out.
I will be so on top of it from here on out.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Then we enter into the 1990s to early 2000s where there is a modernization of like workplace dynamics. There is more workplace friendship that was formed due to the rise of dual income families. Like offices became a place where people spent more time building closer relationship with our colleagues. And the idea of work spouses were actually started around this time, where two colleagues, regardless of gender, apparently even at the time, form a really close bond that's similar to marriage. And I'm pretty sure that you're able to do that then because people were forced or more willing to spend more hours in the office, right? You can't really form that sort of relationship in a pure 9 to 5 sense if you're not spending a lot of time with each other outside of hours, you know, when you go out, grab dinners in the morning before coffee and such.
Yep.
And then in the early 2000s, we also have TV shows like The Office that popularized the concept of work spouses as well, depicting like really close and sometimes overly friendly, familiar relationship between coworkers. They did use humor to showcase the quirky dynamics that can happen during office life. And it also highlighted the sort of emotional support you can have for your colleagues. And with the ever changing gender roles and work-life balances, we started to see that workplace began to shift towards a more inclusive, less hierarchical place. So maybe for a little while, you might not have that sort of workplace relationship because you might not spend that much time in the workplace. But now in present day, I don't know about you, I feel like there are often times that I just do see people talk about their work spouses at work.
Yes,
And
has been. I have seen it.
yeah. And the reason why I thought it was really interesting to talk to you about it is because once, I can't remember, there was this one occasion where I think whether it's because I was like, hey, Josh, if you ever get married, am I your groomsman? Am I part of your groomsman? I can't remember whether it was that conversation. And you actually said, just letting you know, Mel, I don't do work husbands, work wives. Do you remember saying that?
I don't, but it feels like something I would say.
Yeah, I remember you were like, Mel, my boundary is here. And I actually, until that time, never thought about it. Because I've had close relationships with people at work. A lot of them tend to be female until the workplace we're at, where there's because I think a lot of times, a lot of legal work can be more female orientated when you're in the lower ranks.
Right, okay.
So I never really thought about it. And then you brought it up, and I was like, wow, should I be offended? But I also get it.
You surely respected the boundary.
I respected it because I would be so uncomfortable if my
And a work wife.
I would be so
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you so adamant on the no?
I think that for me, I think this is, I guess, my personal circumstances, but I'm also really trying to not say I think the things for me that made me that way were
It's okay. We're humans after all. I don't expect you to be as perfect as me.
it's just my filler word. It's just I'm
is.
thinking, my brain's churning, cogs.
I also think it's probably a very Australian filler word.
Ah.
Right? Whereas I say lots of like, and I think that's a very gendered filler.
Gendered filler.
Oh, no, sorry. I said so, not like. What's so? Maybe it's more of a Malaysian thing.
I'm
Because
not sure.
lots of women say like. You know when people are like, oh my
Like-
God, like
like
I
totally.
can't believe it. Yeah, like, yeah.
Like, it's like the best thing ever.
Exactly. Very gendered. Whereas
Very demure.
very demure. No, I don't know if it's demure, but very gendered. Whereas I feel for men in Australia, is bigger.
Yeah, it's just so ingrained.
Yeah.
But coming back to this, so my views on it is more so from the fact of, like, I've had experiences in the past where there's been colleagues that maybe were a little too friendly. There it is. Were too friendly. Maybe were a little too touchy feely.
At work?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that has never happened to me.
Well,
I mean, not to me, but
I
I've
think,
never
yeah,
seen it.
yeah. I mean,
What?
I think it's like, we talk about, you know, like men and women's experiences. You know, I think one thing that I've heard a few times is when it comes to that stuff happening with guys, like, they'll often not bring it up. Like, they won't report it. Like, it's a little bit like, I'm a little uncomfortable, but it won't get kind of formalized. but I think it does happen.
You're saying if a guy experiences that at work, he is less likely, and obviously this is unwilling, he's less likely to report it?
I think guys are less likely to report it for a variety of
Really?
reasons.
You reckon?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Like I think I don't know. I feel bad generalizing here, but
No, but it's your experience. It's what you observe, right? I have a very different observation.
sure. Well, I think when it comes to sexual contact and sexual like harassment and things, like for me at least, if those things were going on, like obviously there's like a boundary and a limit, but I feel like if I was to report certain things like too much touchy-feely or some comments here and there, I honestly think that it wouldn't go very far, because
Yeah.
a lot of the perception is that, you know, guys like it when girls are interested in them, and
Yeah.
you know, and it's no harm, no foul, or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. I think it is a you know, like I obviously
Sometimes it's also intent, you know, like
yeah.
if like you feel like the person's like actively trying to do something, you might be a little bit like, okay, but if you feel like they're like, you can't tell, like, is this you interested, or is this, that's the other thing. I think guys also struggle with signals sometimes.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's probably a difference in terms of, like, for example, I know I'm a very affectionate person as a whole, right? But I would, and I know people who are as well, and I would see maybe a touch on the arm very differently to
Very, very big signal in the world. Yeah, the arm touch.
but
and it could be either way.
But it's very different to like a touch on your buttocks.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
there's a different, or like, you know, the classic, I rewatched Legally Blonde again, like the classic arms on your thigh.
Yes.
But I feel like, and then there's also like, if I've done it, and I've accidentally slapped, is that the same as someone who placed their hands on their thighs and not even
Definitely different.
Yeah, and not even moving up towards, you know, the crown jewels. Just like place your arms
The
on
crown
crown
jewels.
but just place your arms. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's really fair, because I've also heard lots of people who would say this wouldn't depending on what sort of stuff that's happened. They're like, oh, if a woman did this to a man, it will go down very differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, or like if a guy, like, let's just say, like something happened between a woman and a man where like the woman she was the one that started something. Some will be like, well, if a man did it first, it won't end up well for him.
Yeah, it's obviously a bit of a rabbit hole one, right? But I think I'm trying to remember how we got to this, but
you were saying more so, I guess, your experience on men, and why your observation on why you don't like workplace relationship when there's inappropriate.
Right. The work life. the main thing we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess coming back to it, like the thing for me that I don't like about it is, I think, you know, for me and my relationship, I think that's probably a little too far to do that. God, arms, they're just everywhere.
I know, it's okay. Just let it be. You can fix it outside of this.
Okay.
I'm not your speech therapist.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's just something that's a boundary for that, and also I think it can lead to trouble. So it's also like a risk aversion thing as well. Like if you have a falling out, or like things go wrong, like it can go very south. Like we talk about reporting, you know.
Yeah. And I think, like, for me, I think, you know, my experience on this is I know so many people. Sorry, I've been in a couple of instances and in workplaces where a workplace relationship formed.
Yeah.
And whether they called each other work spouses or not, that's a totally different thing. But a workplace relationship formed outside of relationships or their marriage, right?
Yeah.
And I think when, like, depending on what sort of company you're in, rumors can always happen.
Yeah. Definitely many stories have been heard about things that go on and then suddenly people break up.
Exactly.
And you wonder, was something going on? Was not?
Exactly. And so, like, when it's the same gender, and obviously if those two genders are hetero, like, it's nothing will happen. And I guess there's no real main rumors. Like, for example, the previous workplace we had some, we make fun of this person who had, we call them the boyfriend. But it's just, it's both of them aren't, we presume, aren't interested in each other because they're straight. So we called someone the boyfriend. And there's no rumor, but if it was between two genders and they're obviously straight, I reckon by calling someone the boyfriend or the girlfriend would start
The rumor mill.
Yeah. Regardless if they're single or not, I think it will start the rumor mill.
Yeah, so I guess, definitely another reason why it's a risk aversion thing. I think also I'm probably speaking from a high horse of I've been in a relationship for a long time now.
Yeah.
What was that?
I was like, when people go, oh, obviously, blah, 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 and you push up your glasses, you're like, oh, hoity, 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 hoity.
Well, actually. But yeah. Well, I say, so I've been in a relationship for a bit of time now, and so my view is, like, why would you risk dating someone in your workplace? But it does happen. It's definitely a thing. As you get older, there's, unless you're using Tinder or any dating app, Tinder sponsor us.
Not that we've used Tinder. Did you?
I've definitely used Tinder before.
But did that got you your current girlfriend? No.
Exactly. I mean, does it? Well, let's see if they'll sponsor us.
I mean, yeah. I totally met my current boyfriend through Tinder as well.
That's it, Mel. But yeah, like it definitely happens, and I understand, people that are, single and, they, meet someone in the workplace and they really hit it off, but you work together. It's a risk, but
it is a risk, but
it does happen.
And some people leave families for it. Not just that, let's start dating.
That's the dark side of it, right? People that, have affairs. That's where obviously that's the other side of it, right? That we were talking about. But for me, I think the high horse bit of it is that I'm a big fan of, you don't go into that kind of risk.
Yeah, but the heart wants what the heart wants.
True.
It's
down to the person.
Do you believe
But we're definitely anti-work husbands and wives.
Yeah. We're anti-work spouses. Unless I'm happy to have a work wife as someone who's not interested in women. Do you know what I mean?
As in, like,
I'm happy.
You're calling each other besties and work wives, but you're not actually work wives. And
no. But like, because I feel like I'm very.
Is this
strict.
the term or the relationship? Now I'm even more confused.
So actually true, but I feel like by calling each other work spouses, you are indicating that you've got a strong friendship anyway. Like, you wouldn't call each other work spouse when you're not close.
Yeah, this is the whole other side of it, is you can just call each other work wife and work husband as a joke.
That is true.
But the actual, I think, like, if we're going to set the foundation, then we're talking about the actual relationship of someone that's basically borderline dating, but, like, there's, like, a little flirting and this and that, but, like, they're not actually dating. Like, it's a lot of flirting and stuff.
Borderline, like, flirting. Like, so it's not just calling each other work spouses, but it's actually the fact that people see you as, ooh.
Every now and then there's the arm touch. There's hand on the leg type situation.
Okay, wait, that's too much. I feel like that's too much. Like, I feel like if someone does that at work, you have to be dating, right?
Definitely. Well, we talk about the whole affair thing. Like, people definitely probably do that without dating.
True. People probably have, like
you
interactions.
There was some other teams that we, from our old workplace that they definitely seem to have a lot going on in between.
But they didn't even call each other work spouses.
I didn't know them that well, so I don't know what they were calling each other. But I saw these people, like, interacting, and it was like I saw this relationship formed over years that I was working there, to the point where I eventually see these people that I know, and they're just holding hands in the middle of the street.
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about now.
from one of the risk
teams. Yes, I know.
Yeah, wow. It's crazy that we both know who we're talking about.
Because you pointed out to me, you're like, these, like, I think we were just catching up. We saw each other.
Were you there? Did I point this out?
You pointed it out.
Gosh.
That's why.
There you go.
That's how we're friends.
That's how I made the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, who knows what happened there? You know, maybe it's
yeah.
a you know, a very loving or everything's above board situation, but yeah, like who knows?
Yeah, and obviously it needs to be between two people with similar rankings, like
No, God no.
similar rankings.
People can totally
Yeah, but
cross that boundary.
no, in terms of what makes it above board.
No,
No, you don't think so? I feel like when
I'm you know, we talk about love is love, like
yeah,
you know,
but I feel like when, let's just say, if it's someone in a
there
leadership
are
position,
concerns, there are
Yes.
risks
Yes.
of you know a power imbalance, but yeah, like that's a tough one.
that's obviously I'm not saying you have to be in the similar rank or like similar workplace position, but when it's from someone who is more of a more senior position, I think there is
Concerns. Definitely.
concerns.
You're wondering it was everything.
Yeah, chances of abuse. Do you have to separate them from a different?
Can they say
team?
they don't like it? Are they feeling a bit trapped in the situation?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why when you said above board, I was like, oh yeah, because the people we were referring to that formed a relationship in the workplace, I believe they were similar rankings as well. Similar.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's that. But for me, I'm happy to have a work wife as a straight female. Because unless that person
As a joke, it's
even not as a joke, not as a joke,
like
as
it's you're flirting.
not flirting. So I think when it's
this is going completely against the
no.
definition.
So I'm sorry. I wouldn't have a work husband.
You would.
I would not have a
Okay.
work husband. Sorry, when I meant that, I wouldn't have a work husband, but I would have a work wife. For me, because I am straight, I wouldn't flirt with the wife anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll call them work wives.
I think this is the thing. Like with it, from the definition, I think
You need to flirt.
I think you're joking about a work wife, but you're not actually
Maybe.
got a work wife.
Okay.
You've got a bestie that you're being like, hey, work wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. That's what I'm thinking about. Because I wouldn't be able to flirt with them. Because I wouldn't be like, hey, girl, what you doing?
Yeah, like so this is where I mean. This is the
Ah.
work marriage is. I think it's something that's a little bit more on the like, you know, it's a situationship in a way. You know,
Without the sex, potentially.
well, maybe, probably.
We had very different definitions. Because I thought you can call someone work spouse without not saying you have to you know without the underlying sexual flirtations. But
You see so many meme things, so many videos joking about the work wife. That you meet the work wife, and it's basically just someone who's interested in your partner.
But that's only between two different genders. You don't see a lot of memes about same genders if they're not interested in each other.
You don't, but maybe are we just not receiving the memes because we're not targeted? Like I don't think you have to
Maybe.
exclude people just because it's not straight. Like I definitely think it's definitely possible
Between two straight people
between
of the same gender.
two people that are of the same gender, or I guess people that are, you know, in gay relationships or lesbian relationships. I definitely think you can still have
You
that
can,
situation.
but you have to be interested in the other gender, the gender you're talking about, though.
Well, are you saying that a woman can't have a work wife?
No. So I'm saying if I was bi, then maybe I would be more like I wouldn't want a work wife either. No work husband and work wife, but because I'm not interested in women, I am more comfortable with having a work wife. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I.
Yeah.
Like, would you not like?
I feel like we're just like this is the mucky grey.
Maybe. And is this
I tell you
where
what,
we're supposed to be? Like,
this
we're not
is-
supposed to be that clear cut.
This is, I feel like, the point where one of us whips out the phones and searches up a work, like the definition, like Urban Dictionary, work wife and work husband.
But everyone's gonna have a very different definition. But like, for example, okay,
Yeah.
wait, you're not comfortable with having a work husband, even though you don't have to like touch them, you don't have to flirt with them, but like very close.
So I think this comes back to the definition of it. I would probably maybe joke about it with someone, but
Would
I
you
don't think
introduce-
it's ever a work husband unless it's like
right,
flirtatious and it's actually
Okay.
like a situationship in a way.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So what do you guys think? Do you need to have? do you need to put your flirt on to get a work spouse, or do you not need it? Let us know. But yes, so
Yes.
anyway, we'll cap it at that, because I think we actually found, because initially when we started this episode, we were like, yeah, no work spouse. But I'm pretty sure I told you no work husbands, because I am interested in guys. Like I'm interested in guys. So I think it's really good that we found maybe the little difference, and the difference is probably how we see the relationship as is.
Definitely. It's, relationships are definitely up to interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. So let us know. Do you have a work spouse out there? Do you like Josh being here? Do you want Arian back?
You're just putting me on this hill.
And I guess, thank you again for listening in. I know we have had changes to the episode, so hopefully you like this. I let me know if you have any feedback on it, and I will promise to try to get rid of my nasal voice very soon, because it's bothering even me. So
And all my ums.
and all Josh's ums and all my so's. I've actually been able to edit up my so's for the other episodes, but we'll see.
Just got that ASMR in.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can edit this one out. All right, Josh, say bye.
Bye.